House, please be seated.
Will the House come to order, Mr. Clerk?
Aloha and good afternoon. Today's invocation will be delivered by Representative Amy A. Peruso. Will the members who wish to participate please rise?
Please be seated. Indian author Arundhati Roy points out that historically, pandemics have forced humans to break with the past and imagine their world anew. She continues on to say that this one is no different. It is a portal, a gateway between one world and the next. We can choose to walk through it, dragging the carcasses of our prejudice and hatred, our avarice, our databanks and dead ideas, our dead rivers and smoky skies behind us. Or we can walk through lightly, with little luggage, ready to imagine another world, and ready to fight for it. This morning, I'd like to invoke the idea of ka'ananiao to help us walk through lightly. This concept was shared with me by Uncle Tom Lenchenko, one of the most widely respected members of my community. Uncle Tom, as part of the Hawaiian Civic Club of Wahiawa, cares for Kukani Loko, which is the Piko of Oahu, birthplace of Ali'i, and the central gravitational point of my district. In this sacred place, he speaks often of ka'ananiao, which in concrete terms simply refers to a system of property rights and resource management that predates the Ahupua'a framework. But Uncle Tom also uses another translation for this word. Ka'a means rolling time over generations. Nani means beautiful, and ao means creation or management. So Uncle Tom translates ka'ananiao to mean the creation of a beautiful time in our past, present, future. Uncle Tom tells us that this is our opportunity to create the beautiful time in our community. Given the social, economic, environmental, and political upheavals that we have faced in recent years, it's easy to overlook the space now made available for ka'ananiao. But that is why we are here. I think that the more that we connect with the powerful surges in our communities towards sustainability, sovereignty, and justice, the closer we get to ka'ananiao. If we want to take this opportunity to step through the portal and build a new world, we have to be very thoughtful about which ideas we take with us and which we leave behind. The ideas that help us build something beautiful and more just may not only come from within this building. In fact, I think it's very likely that they will also come from our elders, our youth, our families, from leaders in our communities, from Hawaii's history, and from the Aina itself. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to do this work with such a diverse and committed group of people, and mahalo.
Thank you, Representative Peruso. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Aquino, Ms. Bellotti, Mr. Bronco, Mr. Cullen, Ms. DeCoit, Ms. Eli, Mr. Ganaden, Mr. Gates, Ms. Har,
Present.
Mr. Hashem, Mr. Hashimoto, Mr. Holt, Ms. Ichiyama, Mr. Ilagan, Mr. Johansson, Ms. Capella, Ms. Kitagawa, Mr. Bertrand Kobayashi, Mr. Dale Kobayashi, Mr. Kong, Mr. Lopresti, Ms. Lowen, Ms. Luke, Ms. Martin, Mr. Matayoshi, Ms. Matsumoto, Mr. McDermott, Mr. McKelvey, Mr. Mizuno, Ms. Morikawa, Ms. Nakamura, Mr. Nakashima, Mr. Nishimoto, Mr. Ono, Ms. Okimoto, Mr. Onishi, Ms. Peruso, Mr. Quinlan,
Excused.
Mr. Sayama, Mr. Takayama, Mr. Takumi, Mr. Tam, Mr. Tarnas, Mr. Todd, Mr. Tokioka, Mr. Ward, Ms. Wildberger, Mr. Woodson, Mr. Yamane, Mr. Yamashita. Mr. Speaker.
Present.
Mr. Speaker, 50 members are present, 1 is excused.
Item 2, reading of the Journal. Representative Morikawa.
Mr. Speaker, may this matter be deferred.
So ordered. Item 3, Mr. Clerk, are there any messages from the Governor?
Mr. Speaker, there are none.
Item 4, Mr. Clerk, are there any Senate communications?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, we are in receipt of communications transmitting the noted Senate concurrent resolutions, all having been adopted in the Senate.
Item 5, members, are there any announcements? Representative McDermott.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Very briefly, today is Vietnam Veterans Day. And thanks to your leadership and the leadership of the Majority Leader, over the past decade, we've recognized those gentlemen and women on this floor. But we can't do that because of the pandemic. So today, we are going to, at 1 o'clock, have a ceremony at the Capitol Vietnam Korean War Memorial out here on the lawn. We're fully permitted, Mr. Speaker. We have a permit. Only 10 people can gather. However, I would invite members, if they socially distance, to come up afterwards or during and get photos with these Vietnam veterans. We're recognizing 3 gentlemen today, Joe McGaldy, Carl Meyer, and Robert Kent. And it would be a nice photo opportunity, and they would appreciate it. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, we have 1 Vietnam veteran among us, I believe, and that's the representative from Hawaii Kai. If he would stand to be recognized, I would be grateful. Please give him a hand. Thank you. If I've missed anybody, is there any other Vietnam veterans? Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker.
All right, thank you. Are there further announcements? Representative Holt.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. At the appropriate time, may I please ask for a moment of silence for Malachi Mo Malmalanga. He was shot to death over the weekend, and he did a lot of great work for the kids in our community, and he'll be missed. Thank you.
Okay, are there further announcements? Representative Martin.
Aloha. I just wanted to follow up on an invitation that I had emailed to celebrate Earth Day by planting some native tree seedlings at Hamakua Marsh in Kailua. And I just encourage everyone to attend if they're able. It will be fun, definitely light work. Aloha.
Okay, are there further announcements? Representative Coit.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Also at the appropriate time, I would like to recognize the passing yesterday of Mr. Dilmore, who has been a huge contributor on the island of Molokai. He died at the age of 92 years old. And if we could just, moment of silence for him. Thank you.
Okay. All right, Representative Morikawa for the motion to adjourn.
Mr. Speaker, I move that this House stand adjourned until 12 o'clock noon tomorrow.
Representative Matsumoto.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
All those in favor say aye. All opposed say no. The motion is carried. The House stands adjourned until 12 noon tomorrow. All right, members, could you please rise for a moment of silence for Mr. Makalapa and Mr. Damore. All right, thank you, members.